childcare is this cyclical community issue where we need a workforce for the childcare sector, and we need the childcare sector for a workforce. I mean, we hear from employers all the time who cannot hire good staff because they can't find childcare.
Now, we know there's a severe shortage of childcare in northern Colorado. I'm wondering if you could just kind of give us an overview of the landscape right now and just how tough is it for families who need daycare to find it?
Absolutely. So Larimer County has faced a shortage of childcare for quite some time now. And our partners at the Early Childhood Council of Larimer County have really been working to amplify and elevate this as a community priority because of the critical shortage. We know that we need at least around 4,000 spaces for children birth to 18 months and another roughly 3,000 to 3,500 for kiddos 18 to 36 months. So those toddlers, 18 to 3 years, to close the gap on what is available. In 2023, our estimates showed that the licensed capacity for care is only 16% of population for our littlest kids, 0 to 18 months, and 36% for kids a year and a half to 3 years old. So definitely not, the supply does not meet the demand.
No. Do we know what's driving this shortage of childcare providers, especially for this age group?
So the cost of providing quality childcare is quite significant. When you look at the regulations and licensing requirements for high quality care, the teacher to student ratios that are needed makes it a very, very expensive business. And that's not even considering paying teachers what they're worth. The wages are very low in this sector and we need to raise them. And so that adds to those costs. So it's the cost of care, the availability of the workers. There's been quite a shortage of licensed providers who can provide the care. So that's contributed to it as well.
And I wanted to ask about something else that's having an impact, and that is Colorado's universal preschool program. Could you talk about how that's related to this current shortage of childcare?
Yeah, Erin, I'm so glad you asked because as we talk about the numbers that I just threw out, there are actually, for those littlest children under 3, we're not seeing an expansion of care in those areas because with the state passing universal preschool, which is critical and important from a school readiness perspective, a lot of providers are either opening standalone preschools or they are converting infant and toddler rooms into preschool rooms because there's a steady revenue source for those. It's a complicated business model, but those older kids are less expensive for providers because you need fewer teachers to meet the needs of those older children. And they typically, when you have a provider that offers 0 to 5 care, those big kids offset the high costs of the tiny kids where you can only have 4 children to 1 teacher and so we really need a more integrated model that includes care for kids 0 to 5, as well as wraparound childcare for families who, it's 2.5 hours a day is universal preschool. And that's not a workforce intervention. That's a school readiness intervention. And so organizations like Teaching Tree here in our community, who's part of a new campus that we're working on together, they're meeting the needs of all families so that the preschoolers, the babies, the toddlers, the parents that need to be at work at 6 a.m. and can't pick kids up till 6 p.m. So really that surround sound model is what we're trying to promote and advocate for.
Yeah, because the impact of not having enough childcare really just touches it just creates so many pain points for so many different areas of life, right?
Absolutely. It is really the one issue when we think about, so for United Way of Larimer County, our priorities are youth and education and financial stability of families. And childcare is the one thing, if you think of a Venn diagram of those two priorities, and I would say that those are very important priorities for our broader community, the success of our children in school and beyond, and that their families are economically mobile and able to afford and live the life that they want. Childcare is in the center of that Venn diagram. It's a major, major economic priority for our community and has been identified as such by regional workforce initiatives, all of our area chambers of commerce. Our community health improvement plan has identified childcare as a critical issue we should be focusing on. So I think it's really risen to the top as something that will impact all of the areas that we say are important. And I think the third piece, Erin, it's solvable.
Yeah. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, a lot of people would look at all of the issues here and go, there is no way. You say it's solvable. How do we do that?
So, in the short term, United Way is working on a few different areas of short-term fixes. So we have financial programs for single mothers returning to school called Women Give. That's a scholarship program. We have a larger program that we work with the Early Childhood Council that's kind of an expansion of that, where it's the Larimer Child Care Fund, where families can take and this is all individually donor and corporate contribution supported. They can take those scholarships to the licensed provider of their choosing. They're not just beholden to the nonprofits that can do a sliding scale. And we're working on this really innovative model, the Loveland Youth Campus, that we hope will be the first of many community campuses that respond to the needs of families with kids 0 to 18 plus, because we've got the Boys and Girls Club there providing out of school time care for our older kids. We have the Teaching Tree Early Childhood Center providing care for the littlest kids. And so we see this one roof concept as promising. Long term, though, we need public funding. This is, as I said, it's a market failure, and we can't plug the $20+ million hole with golf tournaments and luncheons. We can't. We're doing our best, but we really are going to need a dedicated public revenue stream to support this. And when you think about an affordable housing project right now in development is a $65 million project, and that's for one development. 20 million-ish, those were 21 estimates to solve this market failure, feels really reasonable. It's a quarter-cent sales tax. And I think, there have been communities across Colorado and the nation that have done this, and it goes to increasing teacher wages. It expands scholarship opportunities for families. So I think that's where, when we say, 20 million sounds like a lot if I was for me personally or you personally, but from a
I'm not going to find that in my couch cushions.
No.
No.
But from a, as you mentioned, like these big, huge community issues like transportation and housing, childcare, it's solvable. And I think we need a win as a community. And I think this one is absolutely winnable.
Well, Joy Sullivan, this has been so great. Thank you so much for talking with me.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. Thank you for helping shine a light on this, not just the community issue, but I think the solutions that are at play.